to heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to a very special edition of Plus Platoon. We are Derek and Amy, and we went to Disneyland last year, and we're going to kind of tell you how it went. But first, I can't do this alone. We can't do this alone, or we especially don't want to do this alone. So I'm going to bring in my producer, Gina. Gina, good to have you this evening.
I'm so excited to talk about my favorite place, Disneyland. It's my home.
And we've also got Pete joining us. Pete, good to have you with us this evening.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing about your trip. I'm not as big a Disneyland expert as Gina is, but I have been 4 times, so I'm
more than me.
I know a little bit.
Yeah. Yay! No, it's always good to hear other people's opinions.
Definitely.
So, it's great.
And guys, if you're out there watching, please let us know. Let us say hi. Ask your questions, and we will be taking questions and answering them as we go through the show. So, first, a little bit of background. I am what I would consider a self-proclaimed, at least, Disney World expert. I've been over 30 times. I actually counted up for her, and it's been over 15 trips to Disney World for you over the last 22 years. We are DVC members. We have stayed there, or we've stayed in the moderates at Disney World. Love Coronado Springs, especially the tower. And usually we past 15 years or so, I would say annual or better trips for the most part. Usually about once a year. Now, Amy, why were we going to Disneyland?
Well, I was sent out to California for a business trip, and Derek got to join me for the weekend between all of my work stuff. So, of course, we were only about a little over an hour from Disneyland. So, of course, we had to go.
Most definitely. You drove through my hood on the way.
Very likely, yeah.
You live on Pendleton?
You did. You
lived in the desert of Camp Pendleton is where you... Oh, no.
No, on the freeway.
The drive.
Yeah, it was
45 minutes past that. 45 minutes past that part.
Okay.
They did drive by my hood.
So, those of you who were around for our first shows, we were originally not going to get a hotel. These two wisely talked us out of it. We ended up driving up Friday night, stayed Friday night, went to the park Saturday, stayed Saturday night, drove back Sunday for our first one. Amy, for our first night, we stayed at the Best Western Plus Park Place Inn. It is literally, you walk out the front and it's the crosswalk that gets you to Disneyland.
Yes, it's right there.
Yeah.
Right.
How was that hotel?
It was the correct location and it was clean. And that's
all
about all I can say about it.
That's all you need. That's all of them. That's all of them.
It wasn't a great room. It wasn't very big. The bed was awful, actually, really hard. But it was
breakfast was terrible.
Breakfast was not great. But the location could not be beat, and it was clean. I couldn't complain about the cleanliness. So that's kind of what I said when I walked in, and location beats everything.
Clean and functional.
Yeah.
So the first night we were there, we went Friday night, and we got there about half hour before fireworks. So we just walked out of our room and stood on the sidewalk and watched fireworks that night. So that was great.
And for that one, we did pay $303 a night.
Oh, wow.
So
it was a Friday.
It was a Friday night. That was a Friday night and Saturday night in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
We did not. I would have loved to have stayed at Disneyland Hotel, but
that was $500 a night.
That would have been $500 to $600 a night. And by the time we decided to book, there were no rooms available.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know right where that is because our go-to has always been the and now I'm going to forget the name of it. It's actually right next door. The
Tropicana.
Tropicana, yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, the Tropicana is on one side.
Yeah.
Then Monday, I drove back down, spent another day in the park, and stayed one night at the Anaheim Desert Inn. It was so much nicer than the Best Western Park place. It was bigger. It had comfortable beds. It was clean. It felt like it had been updated in the 2000s rather than the 90s.
80s.
80s to 90s. it felt like your stereotype. It felt like a Days Inn.
Okay.
So
that was nice.
Comfortable, functional, but nothing fancy.
Right.
I did not eat the breakfast because I slept in that next morning. I was able to park there. Depending on who you talk to, I talked to the gal at the front desk, and I talked to a gal at the valet stand the day before, and they said, "Yeah, sure, come on in, pay your money. If there's spots, you can park since you're staying that night."
Oh, good.
When I pulled up, they said, "No, you have to have a reservation." Until I actually gave them, like for the night before, until I actually gave them names of who I talked to.
Wow.
And then it was one of those, okay. Typically, parking there resets at 2 p.m. So in theory, I should have had to pay for 2 nights of parking, which to me would have been fair. That would have been fair. But I didn't. Parking was $16 a night there. I think it was $20 a night up at the Best Western. But I only paid $187 with tax for the Anaheim Desert Inn. So between those two, definitely go with the Desert Inn.
And that was a Friday night also?
That was a Monday night, but the
Okay.
price was actually the same as the Friday and the Saturday.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
So actually, I think it was, remember right, it was even a little bit cheaper
Oh, good. That's
for
great.
some reason.
Oh, that's
So,
really good.
Yeah. No, like Friday and Saturday was cheaper than the Monday was.
Oh, that's so weird. That's so bizarre.
It is weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say something. You did get a bargain on the parking because
Yeah.
just to go for a day, they charge us like $30 at Disneyland to park for the day.
Which
so.
we figured into the price of the hotels. We figured,
right.
So saving that money was another benefit.
Yes.
Yeah. And so like for people that have never been to Disneyland and only been to Disney World, you can't even picture how close these hotels are to the parks.
Less than a football field.
Yeah, it's like if you plop down a as you said, a Best Western in the contemporary parking lot.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you're looking at here, is that it's that close that you're like the walk you have through the bus station is further than the walk from these hotels. And
and it's further from the hotel except for the Grand Cal than to those other hotels on the other side.
Yes. Well, I think it'd be farther from the Grand Cal to the front of Disneyland than it would
from where we stayed.
Than from where we stayed.
Yeah, it is farther.
Okay, so we're there Sunday morning, and I would say we did the same thing. Excuse me. We did the same thing I did the same thing as Saturday morning and Monday morning. I was there early enough that it was the same thing. From that side, you get into lines that mean nothing behind these two, what would eventually probably be the security tents. But it's just basically a long group of people waiting to get in. When we were there, it was an 8 a.m. park opening. Security opened at 7:15. So you were dismissed from these two tents to go to 7 or 8 different security stations.
Yeah.
They checked every bag. At Disney World, sometimes basically if you don't set off their detectors, you don't have to have your bag checked.
Right.
They check every single, and I mean like you're going through TSA type check every bag.
So California has a thing. They're not allowed to track you or x-ray you or do anything. That's why you have to.
They couldn't metal detect, but they metal detect.
They metal detect you, but they can't x-ray you. So that's part of the deal.
So Disney World x-rays you?
I think so, because they can see what's in your bag. Except for your umbrella.
It's not an X-ray, but it's a scan. It's a body scanner.
Yeah, we're not allowed to scan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the difference. We're not allowed to in California. Yeah.
Okay. So then you get in line. They open the gates at 7:30. The lines at these security gates were painfully slow compared to Disney World, partially because one person ran one touch point, or maybe two, like two on one side. Because you know how at Disney World, a lot of times one person will be running 4 touch points on the entrance gates.
Right.
This was moving at half that speed.
We also have a different entrance. You can only do one for one because they use that little iPhone thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, well, because there's no magic bands.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why.
the magic band seemed like it makes it a lot faster at World to get in.
Again, it's a tracking system, and we are not allowed to use that in California.
Okay.
Anyway.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Rope drop was precisely at 8 o'clock. There was no letting you in, 5 minutes early. Nothing.
No.
It was precisely at 8. All of the people who were waiting to rope drop at 8 a.m. would probably be equivalent to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train line at Magic Kingdom. Much fewer people rope dropping.
Yes, because we like to sleep here, and we don't want to deal. We don't want to deal with that line to get in. So if I get there at like 10 a.m., I'm golden. There's no line to get in. I just walk right up. I just go through. I wait 0.
I would say the line, it felt long, but it was really only probably 5-10 minutes.
Probably 5-10 minutes tops.
We hate waiting. It's like 0.
And I would say on Tuesday morning, I did go over to downtown Disney, which I can't actually call it at Disneyland.
Because it is.
And there was no line to get through security. I was able to walk right across. It wasn't an issue. Yeah. So it's just that rope drop crowd that does it. Yeah. I will say transferring between the two parks was very easy. They're literally less than 100 yards apart. It's, again, if you have the front gate of Disneyland and the front gate of California Adventure is at the ferry.
Yep.
Is probably about how far they are apart.
Yep.
Yeah. So probably not even.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's the part. Yeah. That's like as a good way.
Yeah. And during the middle of the day, like we only went to California Adventure once and then back to Disneyland. But I feel like you could have gone back and forth a couple of times without a problem.
Yeah,
definitely.
100%.
Now, Amy, you rented a scooter.
I did.
ACV. Can you kind of talk about that experience at Disneyland and compare it to what you've experienced at World?
Well, I rented at the park because we were only there for one day. Otherwise, I probably would have investigated like the different companies that will bring one to your hotel at Disneyland. But since we were only there for one day, I just went to the parks, and I was actually the first one in line right at 7:15. But they didn't open the rental place till right at 7:30. And then I just got my ECV, and I think it was $70 with a $20 refund if you brought your keys and receipt back at the end of the day. So it's actually really easy at the beginning and end of the day just to rent it and turn it in. I don't think they sold out that day based on what I saw during the day, but I don't know for sure. But they said, hey, if you get in trouble, just call this number, and we'll come find you in the parks, come rescue you. But the scooter worked great. They all looked relatively refreshed, and it just was pretty slow.
it was a very slow scooter.
But that way, I guess they're all the same speed, and he could walk faster than I could scoot, but oh well.
I thought Gina was going to say that there was some kind of regulator in California that the scooters can't go more than 5 miles an hour.
Well, I'm sure Disney puts a regulator on there.
No, there's no rules, but it's nice. It's nice for us because we get these people who were bad drivers in California. Yeah. Well, they're really bad drivers in California, so they'll just run you over. So they have to be slow.
Say, though, unlike at Magic Kingdom and everywhere in Disney World, she actually could have gone faster without running into people. Yeah. At Disneyland.
Yeah, it wasn't as crowded as Magic Kingdom usually is.
Another thing we had to do with the scooter rental was some of the lines. There are many more of the you go, you check in, they give you a return time.
Yeah.
And then you basically go in the exit.
That's because
Right.
we have
And-
no ADA back in the 50s.
Yeah. A lot of the Disney World rides are now scooter
Updated.
accessible,
Yeah.
and you can just drive it through. But a lot of the world, you just went to the back gate and they scanned your ticket and you got a return time. You can get one of those at a time. So you get it, you have to come back in 20 minutes or an hour or however long it is. And then once you scan back in to use it, you can
and it's
go get another one.
usually 90% of the ride of the current wait. So it's not like you're skipping the line. It's just you're not waiting in the actual line. You're waiting somewhere else.
Right.
And so you mentioned like not big crowds, but you went on a Saturday, correct?
We did. It was a
Yeah.
Saturday, and I don't feel like it was that there was a lot of people, but I don't feel like it was super crowded. I never
Well,
felt like
the weird thing
like
about Disneyland is that it actually is like counterintuitive there because because the more past blackouts that you have, the less people that are there. So actually, if you were to look at a like crowd calendar, I think that Saturday is actually the least crowded day
In the
Saturday
summer.
and Sunday.
in the summer. Yeah,
Right.
and I think
because
Gina
a lot of
would
the
probably
locals,
Yeah.
I guess a lot of the locals, Gina, you can correct me, but they have passes that don't include the weekends. So
Right.
Yes.
so you don't
Or
get
the
a lot of
summer.
you get more of the
Or
tourists
summer.
and not the locals.
Yeah. So I think Monday and Friday is actually the more crowded days at
Monday's the
Disneyland.
most crowded day, and I try
I
to
would
tell
say
people.
I went on Monday by myself. Maybe a 5 at Disney World. Maybe. Probably closer to a 4. The lines, I mean, I never waited longer than probably 15 minutes in any line.
That's
It's
good.
summer though. Summer is different than
Summer,
regular.
yes.
Summer,
Yeah.
everyone's
And
blocked.
really, I would say overall on Saturday, we never really waited in line because we combined the Genie Plus and the ECV return times, and
That's
I
great.
think the longest line we waited in for was Buzz, and that was actually a Genie Plus line, but it had like I think it had gone down, and then so the Genie Plus line backed up,
Mm.
and then we were in behind a wheelchair that they were trying to get on the ride,
A full wheelchair.
a full
Oh,
full
yeah.
motorized wheelchair, and I bless the cast members. They tried really, really hard to make sure to get her in the accessible vehicle, and unfortunately it was just a couple inches too big and they couldn't get it closed.
Oh, too
So
bad. Poor thing.
but they tried a long time, and I really appreciated their patience and trying to make it work for her.
That's nice.
So let's dive a little bit into what we thought of the rides, because we were given some advice about some of the different rides, and gonna let you guys know kind of what we thought. I'm gonna start us in Fantasyland. That's
Well,
where
I want to start overall with our plan. Like, you can look at the previous Plus Platoon episodes on this, but our plan was to do stuff in Disneyland that we could not do in Disney World. So that's why we skipped some of the big stuff, because it's exactly the same in World. So anyway, moving on.
yeah, very good. Which is why in Fantasyland we did not do Peter Pan and we did not do the teacups.
Perfect. You don't need to.
When we went on that day, we went there first. When we went there first, we literally did not wait in any line for Pinocchio.
Never.
Alice was down.
Oh,
We went
bummer.
back to
We had to go-
Alice.
we had to go back
Yeah,
to
go back to
Alice.
Alice.
Yeah, bummer.
Snow White and Mr.
Mr.
Toad.
Toad.
Mr. Toad,
Both
yeah.
others. We didn't wait and ride for any of them. Of the 3, I would honestly say probably my favorite was the Snow White ride.
Oh,
It reminds me, it is what Seven Dwarfs Mine Train wishes the dark ride portion of it could be. Because
Okay.
the 2 mine scenes are almost identical.
yes.
Now.
We did copy that. It
So.
used to not be that good.
We
It just
rode
redid it.
Storybook. We rode Storybook Land twice. Once at day, once at day, once at night. It is infinitely better in the daytime because they don't really light it up at night.
Not as
They
well as
used
it should be.
So back in the olden days, I haven't been on it since 2015 at night. They used to have a flashlight and they would shine the little flashlight on the stuff. They didn't do the flashlight.
Nope.
Our crew member didn't.
No.
So
They probably don't anymore. They used to.
the reason we went on it twice really is because on the first one, unfortunately, there's two other groups, and one guy was talking on his phone across from us the whole time, and the other group was just chattering so loud I couldn't hardly hear the narration from the cast member. So we wanted to go on it one more time, and I figured it would be pretty and lit up at night, but it wasn't.
It looked like it was those things at night.
Yeah.
They used to shine a light.
Like dark blue and dark purple lights type thing.
Yeah.
So
They used to shine a light, and then they used to say with Mr. Toad, "Oh, he didn't pay his electric bill, so the lights are all out."
it's a small world. Yes, it's the original. I like Magic Kingdom's better.
Oh my gosh,
I like the
love
bigger.
ours.
I like the bigger rooms at Magic Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
And we were in at least a 2-room backup at the end. It was a
interesting.
huge wait at the end.
Oh, bummer.
We caught a little bit of we caught like the end, like the last 2 minutes of the Bruno show that they're projecting on.
Oh, I liked it. It was cute.
It was cute. It was just, it's not worth a special trip at night back there. So then Amy, and Matterhorn. Love the Matterhorn. I would say I preferred, okay, Gina, which track did you tell me was smoother?
The right
Left
side.
or right? Right
The right
side?
side. Mhm.
I would agree. I don't know that it was necessarily smoother, but I felt that it was faster.
Yeah, right's just a better track. Yeah.
Right was a better track. And so there were times they didn't give you the choice. You had to go on the left side.
Oh no.
when there weren't very many people.
Yeah, you could just go right.
The right track was better.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Matterhorn. Yeah.
Okay.
Always hurts my back.
It does. It's supposed to give you it's supposed to clear all your kidney stones. Some doctors said if you have kidney stones, go on Matterhorn.
I've heard that before.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a chiropractor designed it.
Yes.
So then we went over to
Tomorrowland. Yeah, and we did Hyperspace Mountain.
Nice.
So fun. Although the first time we rode it at least twice. The first time there were two ladies right behind us, because it's 2x2 at land as opposed to the three in a row single rider at World.
Like Matterhorn.
But the lady behind me was screaming and cursing her friend for making her ride it because she was hating it.
I always love that.
So scared.
It's always the best.
And I was just laughing hysterically at her.
And I was just annoyed.
So you missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we went back. I think we went back on it twice.
Did we go twice?
I think we went twice more.
Yeah.
And then when I went alone, I think I went either 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah.
I liked
it was great.
I would say as a with the Star Wars overlay, I will give it to you better than Magic Kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
Different than Magic Kingdoms.
100% different. You can't compare.
Yeah, it's different.
With with the normal overlay, I can't judge it
Because you didn't see it. Yeah.
because we didn't see it.
I'm still of the opinion I like it better, but I think the Magic Kingdom one is it feels very simplistic when the Magic Kingdom one, just because to me it feels like I mean, now that I'm like older and everything, it feels like a wild mouse. It's basically you go in a circle and go in a circle and go in a circle and then it ends. And I don't love it at Magic Kingdom. It's okay, but there's a lot of times we skip it.
So the way I deal with that is I would compare Matterhorn to Space Mountain and Magic Kingdom because they're the same design.
And between the two, Space Mountain hands down.
See, I like Matterhorn. Well, they're both jerky.
Yeah.
I like Space Mountain on the left side better.
Yeah. Well, speaking of jerky and versus smooth, the next we went to Frontierland, and we did Big Thunder, even though it's the same ride. It's
mirror.
It is so much smoother at Disneyland, and all the effects work.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really enjoyed it at land. I mean, I like it at World too, but it's so jerky and the effects don't work as well at land or at World. So
they redid ours. They redid ours with LEDs. That's why it's so nice at the end.
It's very nice. I loved it.
I love yes, there was the explosion tunnel. There's like you going along and you're going up one of the lifts, and there's a bunch of animatronic rattlesnakes right there.
And the goat. You watched the goat, right? You did the goat effect.
Got the goat.
Yep, got the goat. Then that's about all there was in Frontierland that we did.
Yeah, there's not much there.
That's about all there is in Frontierland.
That's all we've got.
Yeah. Adventureland. We did not do Jungle Cruise because I could look through and see some of the scenes, and it basically looked like it was the exact same ride.
It's actually less. It's less than.
Yeah, it's shorter.
Yeah, it looked smaller, and we just
Um,
skipped it.
You don't need to do it.
We did do Indy.
Mhm.
I will say I did Indy then also the second day, and guys, this is another one where you get a return time because the queue is not accessible.
Oh, that
Mhm.
queue is forever long.
I liked it better the second time. No offense, dear, because I didn't have someone next to me. Well, and jerking. And,
It was very, very jerky.
It was the roughest ride in
It was
Disneyland.
extremely rough. And I mean, I really enjoyed the big cave and all the scenery. It was very well themed, and I enjoyed that part of it, but I didn't have time to enjoy it as much because I was too busy like jerking around and hitting Derek and
Yeah, I think it's a ride you kind of got to ride a couple of times almost to appreciate because it's also very dark.
Well, I would like to
never
try it
again.
again with more space to kind of
Move around in.
move
Yeah.
around and
I
yeah.
I
But the theming was
also
fantastic. I really
took
liked it.
we did the Backstage Magic Tour, and that's one of the rides they took us backstage, and we got to I volunteered to do it. I got to play with the vehicle, and the path is actually much like a dinosaur. The path is completely smooth. It's all the vehicle.
It's all the
It's
vehicle.
the
And
hydraulics.
so they're like, "Does anybody want to play with the vehicle?" And I was like, "Me."
I want
And they
to
gave me this
control.
controller, and you had like 3 joysticks, and you could do forward, backward, sideways, and then
Oh,
up and
that's so
down.
cool.
And so it moves all 6 ways independently, which is why it's so crazy rough. And so I was there going with the car, and it was going,
Yeah.
and people were like, "Oh, I wouldn't want to ride if you were controlling it."
And then the other thing we
So it's
did in
Very bumpy.
Adventureland was the Enchanted Tiki room. It was very it was closer to the original than the Magic Kingdoms version is because it goes longer into the Let's All Sing While the birdies sing. It actually
Right.
does the entire song of that.
Mhm.
It still drops the Offenbach section from the original.
I'm like, they have a portion of it though.
Not the Offenbach part. The Offenbach part plays in the pre-show. In the pre-show,
Oh,
you can listen and hear the Offenbach music
yes.
playing. Also, love the fact that we could take the Dole Whip floats into
I
the
was gonna say,
attraction.
that's the best part. You
Yeah.
get to have
But
your
the thing
Dole
is,
Whip
it
float.
wasn't that hot yet at that point in the morning, and so it was like the Dole Whip tastes so much better when you are just drenched in sweat and so hot at World. I think, but I really enjoyed my Dole Whip. Yes.
Did you get the much like the castle? You go into the Tiki room, and you're like, "Wow, this is really small."
Yeah.
It was smaller.
Yeah.
It's all
Oh,
small.
the castle
And-
was. Thank you for warning us, Gina, because yes, that castle was lower your expectations and then lower them some more.
Yep.
It's very baby. It's our baby. It's our
my
classic.
Lego castle.
It's our baby castle. We love it. It's our little baby.
It doesn't help that it has a mountain right next to it.
No.
Right.
Trees behind it that are bigger than it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know
Okay.
the illusion. He just didn't want anyone to see in. So
Oh yeah, and I totally get that, but the castle's
Yeah.
not big.
no, he didn't
So-
want it that way though. He wanted nobody to see in and no one to see out. So
Right. Next, we went to the New Orleans Square area, Road Haunted Mansion.
Mhm.
Reminded me of the pre-rehab Magic Kingdom Haunted Mansion because it doesn't have like the stairway room and it doesn't have some of those effects in it.
our cue's better.
The hat box ghost was not worth it at all.
I love him. I
Mhm.
love him.
Yeah.
We fought to get him back. He was gone for like 30
I
years. and
know.
we finally got him
The
back.
things
He's
you
so
guys
cool.
fight over is kind of
He's so
ridiculous.
cool. Hey, I paid for him. He's cool.
The Pirates was closed, so we didn't
Yeah,
do
bummer.
Pirates.
Disappointing.
Did not do Splash because we didn't want to get soaked.
That's fine.
I rode Pooh on Monday.
Mhm.
was possibly my least favorite ride in all of Disneyland.
It is the worst. No, it is the worst. It's
Because,
terrible.
the only effect is, remember in Magic Kingdom how you kind of do the float with Piglet and you're just kind of going side to side like
That's
that?
the
That's all you do
whole
the entire
ride.
ride.
It's annoying.
And Magic Kingdoms has the story in order.
In our story,
It's
there's no
got,
story.
you know,
Right.
you go through the order. This one, it's not even backwards. It's just kind of,
There's no
let's do this
story.
scene next. Let's do this scene. Then let's do this
It's-
scene. So
Yeah.
Pooh's
Pooh was
birthday.
terrible.
It's the
Pooh was
that
terrible.
story is it's Pooh's birthday.
Oh,
Really?
And
Who cares?
That isn't even let
Like,
know.
who cares?
So,
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the worst.
we did go to Galaxy's Edge. The rides are exactly the same as we knew they would be. Rise was actually down more than I remember it being at Hollywood Studios. Rise was down a ton.
Oh, weird.
But we didn't want to do it anyway because
don't waste your time.
It's the same. It's
Yeah.
the same ride.
It's
so-
exactly
Yeah.
the same.
I
Don't waste your
know.
time.
I did Rise on Monday just because I had the time because I was being a lot more selective on what I did. So to me, I like the entrance at Hollywood Studios better, especially at Disneyland. The effect is probably best coming in out of Frontierland, going through that little opening under the train.
That's my favorite.
But it doesn't have the effect of the tunnel at Hollywood Studios.
But our music changes from
So does-
Frontier.
well,
I love ours.
So you're going from the Muppets to Star Wars. You can't get much more.
Right.
So
Anyway, it looked very, very similar.
The
to
same.
World, so.
It's the same.
We did do Millennium Falcon just because we had extra time, but it is the same ride. So
Same. Yeah.
so then went on to Main Street.
yeah, we went down Main Street to try to. Is that when we were trying to see the Dapper Dans?
We saw the Dapper Dans.
Yeah, we saw a part of the Dapper Dance show and just did a little shopping and Mr. Lincoln. We went and saw great
Moments
with
Moments.
Mr. Lincoln. So
It was neat.
it was neat. And
was-
we
It's
also
original. I liked it. I like it better when they do like Wednesdays with Walt and show old movies.
yeah,
and
and
show
then we
old
also did the other show, the I can't even remember the name of it. The circular theater.
The Circular Theater.
It was where you I don't even
folks,
remember.
I don't know what she's talking
I
about.
don't either.
No, it's
I don't
the
either.
classic Disney that was at the World's Fair.
Circle of it. We don't have Circle Vision.
Here's in progress.
Is it?
we don't
World?
have. We don't
Magic
have that.
Kingdom. That's at Magic
No.
Kingdom.
Yeah, we don't have
You're thinking
that.
What am I thinking of? Mr. Lincoln?
You're thinking of the Mr. Lincoln thing. Has kind of it kind
Yes.
of arches. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going, what is she?
We don't have that anymore.
That was the Mr. Lincoln show. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Your drink,
I
dear.
think I fell asleep partway through that because it was
It's a little-
I mean,
original.
it was the original thing. Yeah.
The original.
Yeah.
You just have to do it because it's original. Let's just say a lot of fifth graders also take naps in there. So.
I'm not surprised.
And along
I
the
mean, it
lines,
was really cute, but I fell asleep.
and along the lines of you have to do it because it's the original, the train. Meh. The
Our
dioramas.
diorama.
The dioramas are not all that I was hyped to be.
Oh, I love it.
I did not like looking to the side instead of the front because it
Yes,
it wouldn't let me look to the left.
I agree. I'm not
So-
a big fan of the riding
I understand
sideways.
it's
Let me tell you
controlling
though,
the point of view and can't see behind you and blah blah blah
they
blah blah.
changed. Well, what happened was when you went around Frontierland, you used to not have that left side, so it didn't matter. So that now with that left turn, you're like, well, what's going on?
But
So it is
but
a
it's
little
the
annoying.
riding sideways I didn't like.
Okay.
So
But then you can't enjoy the diorama if you're facing. Anyway, it's the whole thing.
anyway,
Yes, you can. This thing works like this, right? So if the diorama is to your right, you
Yeah.
just like, oh, there it is.
That's funny.
You know,
I'm
so
opposite. I like being able to like see my diorama,
And
but
I-
I
and I
love
will-
it because it's that old 1950s Grand Canyon and then your 1950s dinosaurs. That is.
Oh,
I
it's
love
not
it.
the
I like the
1950s dinosaurs.
dioramas. I'm just saying.
It's the
64.
finest. It's the Fantasia Rite of Spring dinosaurs.
What year is that?
1940.
Oh,
Well,
see,
That's
That's-
when
but
they. That's
they
when
were
they did
built.
The story
They were
anyway,
built
yeah.
for the. They were built
Yeah.
for the World's Fair, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, my point is, and it's
Yeah.
totally wrong, so I have to always explain that. By the way, this is not how this. They did not exist during the same time period. Just saying that T-Rex and Stegosaurus were not
Oh, you're
together.
one of
This
those teachers.
would never happen. Sorry, kids.
So that's rides at Disneyland. Gina, Pete, any questions about anything we think we've missed so far?
I think you did great, and
So
I
you
agree with you.
you
on
couldn't ride the submarines because they were
Down.
closed
We're
as
still
well.
down. Yes. Did not
Yeah.
ride Autopia. Did not ride the monorail.
Oh, you didn't mention Buzz Lightyear other than that the line was long.
That was later in the evening.
Yeah, Buzz. I prefer Magic Kingdoms. I don't, mainly because there's more targets than there is at Disneyland's version.
You can take out the gun.
Yes,
I
you can
hate
take the gun
I
and-
hate it I hate it in both, but you can take out the gun in
That's
California.
fair.
To me, they're close enough that 6 of one, half dozen of the other. There's not enough significant difference.
Let's just say if I never go on Buzz again, I'll be
Okay.
okay.
Let's be honest. I can always max out my score at Disney World. I didn't at Disneyland. That's the problem. So, okay, moving on over to California Adventure, because we went over there after lunch, which we'll talk about our food here in just a little bit. Monsters Inc. ride. It tells the Monsters Inc. story. It's a dark ride. Congratulations.
It's cute.
It's cute.
Use the buddy pass.
Yes.
Yes, the buddy pass was great.
Okay.
So I don't know
did-
if you had it, but the Roz at the end will actually like talk to you.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
the
cute.
one time we were on it, my wife was wearing her birthday pin, and Roz like actually wished her happy birthday.
Aw.
Sometimes Roz can see you and she'll
Yeah.
Roz
say,
couldn't see us.
yeah, sometimes she can. Sometimes
Yeah.
she'll say, hey,
Oh,
the man in the third row wearing the whatever shirt. I like it. I
Roz-
like it.
Roz and all the others are now taking a nap because they're refurbing it.
Okay.
So
Mm. And just always tell yourself it's not Superstar Limo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The next ride we did was Guardians, which is kind of like the Tower of Terror ride at World, but it was fabulous. We loved it. I mean, I guess that's about all you can say.
The story. So what happened was,
who cares about the story? It's the music that
Well-
you're going up and down to the music. Who cares about the story?
my point is, before when it was the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, it just lost something because we didn't have the effect of going down the hallway. We didn't have the effects. Now with the storyline, and it just makes sense, and going up and
It's all
down in the
projection
gantry
screen.
lift, way better.
Yeah, it was really neat, and the ride was great.
Yeah,
So,
it is very impressive that they took a poor man's version of Tower of Terror and turned it into almost I don't know if it's a better ride than Tower of Terror, but it's
I liked it better
better
than Tower of
version.
Terror, actually.
Then we did the Spider-Man Web Slingers. It's Toy Story Mania, but with motions.
Karate motion. You
Um,
gotta do your karate. You gotta do
well,
karate
one
chops.
thing- Along those lines, you have to make sure you do the same motion They do like a calibration at the beginning, and if you're doing this at the beginning and this during the ride, like side to side versus up and down, it doesn't register.
So whatever
You
you're
have to
comfortable with. So I do karate
do
chops.
exactly the same motion the entire time.
good to know.
Yeah, and what I guess I didn't know is that I was going for all the bugs, and I didn't know that you could actually go for like things in the room to make effects happen. That would have been fun. I kind of want to go on it. Like, I don't need to pay for it again. Definitely, it wasn't that
Single
great.
rider.
But
We wanted to ride together.
yeah,
Well, I understand. But for future, if you ever want to do it again, single
If I-
rider real
yeah,
quick.
if I want to do it again just to watch more of what
Yeah.
happens. Some of the effects would be interesting to see, but
Yeah, and I got the more you go on it, the better you get to, and you can see
I'm
more
sure.
and do more, and you can hear
Yeah.
more, because he'll tell you a color too. Purple is worth more in this room, and you're like, oh, I'll karate
Yeah.
shop the purple things. Yeah,
then we went on Incredicoaster. Incredicoaster was incredible.
It is the best Disney roller coaster
It
in any
is
of the parks.
Fabulous
Yes.
roller coaster. It
Agree.
was so good.
I love
It
it.
was great. Yeah.
Somehow I got multiple. Okay, I played the system because Big Thunder. The day I went by myself, Big Thunder Mountain was down most of the day, so I kept getting Genie Pluses for Big Thunder Mountain.
Can't do it. So let's
Because-
pick Incredicoaster.
If you can't use it, if you can't do Big Thunder, you get to pick just about anything else one.
Incredicoaster.
So Incredicoaster is on that
Oh,
list.
it's going to be your fault that goes away now, Derek.
Oh, fine. I'll take that bullet. I don't care. No,
it's
because
a
people have been
loophole.
doing that for
ever.
years.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
for Fast Pass, they've been doing it. So yeah.
And if 10 people do it during the day, that's not enough to make a difference because that's all that would do it during a day would be 10
Right.
people.
Yeah. I'm just teasing.
Yeah. But so
Yeah.
I got to ride Incredicoaster. I think I rode Incredicoaster 3 times
On Monday.
And
Yeah,
it was
and
hot
it's-
enough. I actually got a little motion sick. But
And it's
Oh, yeah.
and
Motion
it's
sick.
the rare thing that they did the Incredicoaster retheme, and it actually, I think it works considering how hard it is to theme a roller coaster
Right.
that's that
Yes.
fast. I think it works, and it's better than the original theme, which was essentially it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, yeah, it is really neat with the theming. I mean, it would have been a good roller coaster without the theming, but with the theming, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
I rode Midway Mania the day I was by myself. Again, used one of those extra fast passes. It's exactly the same. I've never been a fan. I should have done something else.
Yeah.
Grizzly River Run, do not get as wet as Kali River Rapids at Magic
Correct.
Kingdom,
Which is probably
My
good for
sh-
California.
Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom. My shoes would have been soaked, but I kind of was able to keep them up. But nobody, you know how normally it's one person in the raft always gets wet. No one ever got wet in our raft.
Oh, weird. I wasn't there. That's why.
Yeah. Okay.
You always
You always
get
get wet.
I'm the one. I'm the one person. It comes over the top. I'm like, where did that come from? There's no water here. How's it going over the top of me?
I've
Yeah.
gotten decently wet on Grizzly River. It is so much better of
A raft
whatever you want
ride.
to call that, a river raft ride.
Yeah.
Cali, I do like those rides. Cali is awful. I can't even tell you the last time I've been on it because it's basically one drop that gets 2 people soaked, 2 other
And then you're
people
float,
pretty
float,
wet,
float,
and
float,
then
float, float, float,
and
and
then-
you're done.
yeah.
Yeah. This one has a longer ride for sure. And
Is-
it's
is
better
it-
than the one at Knott's too. The one at Knott's is terrible. The one at
Okay.
Knott's has no hills.
Yeah.
It's just around the thing.
Mm.
So
So it's definitely worth it if you don't want to get wet. I would say you can wear a poncho on it, and again, you don't get as drenched as Cali, so you could probably wear a
You would
poncho.
not get wet at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say
Unless
I
you're
kind of
with me.
wanted to get wet that day because the day I went, it actually was by myself. It was 96 degrees.
oh wow,
Yeah.
that's hot for here. Yeah.
So
It was, yeah,
That was
it was
hot
really
for
hot.
here.
But the Saturday, the weather was great. It got pretty warm in the afternoon, but
Like
if you found
80.
some shade, it was fine. And
Did
I
you
actually
go-
took
yeah.
my jacket like for the evening.
Yeah, you need it at night.
I did.
70s. It's 70s at night. Did you go on the death wheel?
no,
No,
Okay.
no.
It
I
it was
have-
going to take way too much time, and it was going to be really hot.
and I have acrophobia, so I
Okay.
don't like the
Got it.
potential to fall from high places.
And
so,
it's a swinger. It's like the scariest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Anyway,
That-
the
The,
next
the
thing we
idea of
did-
those sliding cars terrifies me. So I'm not
yeah,
on it.
I wasn't impressed. So we
It's
just
scary.
watched it.
Yeah.
But we did do Soarin' because even though it's the exact
we
same
get a
ride,
Genie Plus.
we got the Genie
Okay.
Plus, and it's my favorite ride in all of Disney World, and it did not disappoint at Disneyland. So it was the same ride, but I love it. So
Okay.
And then the land that we were told was going to be the best
Excuse me.
themed land in all of Disney completely lived up to its hype. We were thinking that when our son was young, we would have been spending hours in
Cars
Cars Land
in
Uh-huh.
Radiator Springs.
in Radiator Springs. May
Mhm.
honestly may even spend hours there now just because it's
It's
such
so
a great
cool.
land.
It was wonderful,
We did ride Radiator Springs Racers.
fabulous.
Pay for that. I don't care. That is one. I don't care how much they will charge. I will pay for that every
And let
time.
me tell you, they have a single rider, and you typically ride with your person because it always parties of 4. So it's
Yeah.
you're always riding with your person.
We didn't want to chance it.
Right. No, I understand. But for if you ever went back, single rider.
Yolanda and I always
Yeah.
do single rider, and it's always like 5 minutes for single rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
was
you're always
time.
together. Yeah.
I was just like, in awe the whole ride. I was like, oh, our son would have loved this ride because it tells the story as well as being a fun ride.
And it tells an original story. I like the two different scenes that, one side you go see Luigi and Guido, the other side you go see Ramon, and that's how they split you up. I will say on this one, the scooters load at a separate dock. There are two dedicated cars that those two cars are always the two that pull off. So if there's like 3 or 4 scooters in front of you, by the time you split, you will probably end up actually waiting longer than people in the normal line.
Yeah,
you
that's
split
true.
near the end. So, but yeah, those were the rides we did. All in all, I would say great experiences. Loved them.
Did you do the other Cars Land rides, or did you skip them?
We did not.
We skipped the Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. We skipped the Dancing Cars one.
Did you listen to any of the Mater songs?
I did. Yes, they were funny.
They're the best.
And did not go back at night just because, honestly, we watched we'll get to it, but we watched the 9 o'clock parade both nights, and nighttime wasn't going to come on until about 8:15.
Yeah.
So by the time we saw the lights,
you'd have no time to get a spot. Yeah.
Now in the winter, I would think it would be great.
The nighttime in Cars Land is just as impressive as the daytime, and if not more so, because it's such a big thing in the movie.
And it's
the neon lighting up at night. And the thing I always say about Cars Land is, like, it points out what they did wrong with Galaxy's Edge, because Cars Land, they said we're gonna make the movie, and you go there and you're in the movie.
You're in the movie.
And Star Wars Land, they decided, well, we don't want to make the movie because we want to keep this independent of the movie.
Yeah.
But then you go there and you're just kind of in a land that you don't know about, and it's
bland.
It's not as exciting as, like, literally, if they'd made that Tatooine, it would be 5 times better.
Exactly. If they made it Tatooine, it would probably be better than Cars Land, to be perfectly honest.
Right. They still, they still don't realize that, or I don't know, maybe they realize it, but because they still talk about how they wanted to keep it.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, Cars Land shows what they did wrong, because even if you're not like a massive Cars fan, you go there and you're like, wow, this is, I mean, if you've seen the movie,
cool.
It's like, this is the movie, and it's like every little detail about it. And it's just, I don't know. As you said, best great. Land in certainly in North American Disney parks.
All right. So we heard about the Dole Whip. What else did y'all have for food?
I don't remember what we did for lunch.
Lunch, I was with you. We
went to the plaza. That's right.
We went to the plaza, and you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Lunch, that's right, because we got the parade viewing package, so it was like a prefix meal, basically.
You got fried chicken.
You got fried chicken. It was great. It was nice to sit down and get full and be in the air conditioning, and it was all inclusive. You didn't have to worry about paying for every little thing on your plate. So but it was pretty.
You also only got one plate,
but it was filling, and it was good food.
I like their chicken a lot. That's good. The best chicken.
Best at a Disney restaurant, I would agree with. Best I've ever
best chicken.
had. No,
best chicken. No, best chicken for a theme park.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
It's better than Knott's.
It was definitely good. I mean, nothing to complain about. So yeah. And then for supper, we just kind of snacked. We got different things. I went to Smoke Jumpers Grill because they had a chicken salad that looks really, really, really good, and it was fabulous.
And I ate at the Pacific Wharf Cafe, and they had a shrimp sandwich. It was okay. It was nothing amazing. It got me filled. It was better than a burger. Had a little bit of a kick. So if that's your kind of thing, I mean, it was decent. I've had better shrimp sandwiches, but then again, I eat seafood a lot. So
might go to quick service Flows. Just they have really good stuff.
Again,
but if you didn't want a burger.
So yeah. And then the second day I went, lunch I ate at Harbor Galley over by the boats in New Orleans Square. I had a lobster roll, reminded me a lot of the lobster roll at the Harbor House.
Same name.
Decent but forgettable.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
No.
There wasn't anything great about it. Best lobster roll that used to be on any Disney property used to be at the Contemporary. There at the Contemporary Cafe there, right next to Chef Mickey's. They used to have the best lobster rolls, like huge chunks of claw meat and everything, but
Nice.
I'm sure it cost too much. Then for supper, I actually got on the walk-up list to Carthay Circle.
Nice.
Which is probably the fanciest sit-down restaurant at Land. It's possibly the only Disney park restaurant I've ever been in where I felt underdressed. Now, I was definitely not the only one in there in shorts and a t-shirt, but there were definitely people in there in, like, they had come there for a date.
Oh, how funny. I go regular. I go theme park, so no worries.
Mainly I did it because it was, as I said, it was 96. I was overheating. I went in to sit down and get cool. Wasn't an expensive meal? Yes. Was it probably one of the top 5 meals I've ever had at a Disney restaurant? Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Had a huge bone-in pork chop stuffed with cheese and some kind of veggie. I don't even remember, but it was delicious. Had potatoes on the sides. The drinks were decent.
The drinks are good. They're they have a good bar.
So I would definitely recommend the Carthay Circle restaurant for lunch.
And you did fresca style outside, or you did indoors?
I got the inside.
Wow.
I specifically asked for inside, and
It's so hot that day.
luckily they were. Normally the walk-ups do sit outside.
Yeah.
But they managed to get me a table for 2 that I was able to do as a one top, and so it was nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I will say on that, keep checking. Like, it's almost like the Genie Plus at World. You just keep refreshing and refreshing and refreshing the walk-up list, and when you're close enough, it'll keep refreshing. And
that's great.
Every once in a while, it'll click, something will show up, and you click it, and you can get on it.
Nice. I'm going on Friday, so I'll find out.
The popcorn at Disneyland gag was disgusting. I mean, probably
it's the air.
Well, some of the worst popcorn I've ever had.
It's stale, and as soon as it hits the air, it's disgusting. I didn't warn anybody about that.
Mickey bars.
Stick with the churros.
Well, we're getting to the churros, but the Mickey bars were, the only problem with them is they were so hard.
Oh yeah, I forgot to warn you. You had to leave them in your pocket for like 40 minutes.
Not on that 96-degree day, I didn't. But
they're so hard. It's a nightmare. It's dumb.
They're the same bars. They're just so hard.
They're in freeze dried and they're just terrible.
Yeah, like at World, they just melt right away.
Yeah.
And then we had the churros.
We had the churros, and we had them with caramel sauce for dipping, and I really liked that. I
don't like the sauce,
but I generally don't like churros. But these were decent for churros. Like I would eat it again, but like I said, I'm not a big churro fan.
And I did eat it again. It was the breakfast of champions both mornings.
Churros are so good.
So
okay, we found out why. So after you tell, I'll tell you why. Okay, go.
Well, I was gonna say, to me, the problem I always had with churros at Disney World is they're not crispy.
That's why.
And because I think it's because it's so humid.
I have another reason.
Okay, what's the other reason?
So my husband's a chef, and we went to World, and I warned him. I said, do not eat these churros. They're disgusting. And he ate one, and he's like, this is so disgusting. You want to know why? I said, why? They're not crispy. They are not made fresh. You saw them going through the thing at Disneyland. You see it go through it goes through the roller. It lands in the sugar. They sugar it up for you standing right there. They just pull it out of the little container and hand it to you at World.
That makes sense. Well, and I think it also helped with ours. We went first thing in the morning.
Oh,
so they were brand
new, fresh.
But
they're fresh all day. They cook them all day long. They don't ever. They're never sitting.
And we got them in Tomorrowland under what I'm guessing, under what looked like it used to be the People Mover track.
It was.
Oh,
no, rocket rods. Wow. There was a good idea.
So no one ever. Anyway, so I'm glad you liked our churros.
Yes. So, nighttime shows. I know Gina and Pete, you both suggested that we go to World of Color. Both suggested we went to World of Color. the plan was for us to go the first night to the fireworks, and then I was going to go over to World of Color. Amy, what did you think of the fireworks?
Fireworks are fantastic. So we actually watched both the fireworks show and World of Color like on YouTube before we went, so that we could decide what we wanted to do, because we were kind of on the fence. So we both really loved the fireworks show, and so we decided to do the fireworks, and it was fabulous. It is so much better than Magic Kingdom fireworks are right now.
We're getting heckled in the background. Gina, I can tell.
And it snows on Main Street. I mean, it's fabulous. And they get the whole park involved, like
Isn't
the
that great?
volcano is part of it.
So
And it's just,
great.
it was so good.
And the fireworks themselves reminded me of either Fantasy in the Sky or Wishes. They are that good
Fantasy
of
in the
fireworks.
They're
Sky.
really, really good fireworks. And
That's
the
not our best
story
show.
and everything is great too. So everybody makes a big deal about the Main Street as part of it. They have some projections on Main Street. That was neat, but that didn't really make it for me. But it was neat that it seemed like the whole park was part of the show.
Yeah.
So
Because it
that
was.
was really neat.
It was.
Okay.
And I
She
love
developed
my
all
favorite
these
part is that
multiple
volcano
directions.
part. That's my favorite
Yeah,
part. When
'cause
they make
if you're over by Fantasmic, they put up the fountains and they project the same things on the fountains.
Yeah.
And I think they also project on Small World.
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of try to make it to Fantasmic too. We never did, but I think I remember seeing Fantasmic when I was in high school, maybe. It's the only other time I've been to Disneyland. And I remember liking it back then, but I didn't remember a whole lot about it. But we did. I would go see it again if I went back to Disneyland.
And then
The whole reason we wanted to go in the first place.
the Main Street Electrical Parade is back.
I hate to say this. I hate that song so much.
It does kind of stick in your head, doesn't it? But
Does a little, yeah, but
The
It's
parade
still
is very
classic.
good, but the song just drives me nuts.
but it's still the classic that all parades are measured by.
Yeah.
For not being memorable and relatable because of the old movies, the parade route was full, multiple people deep at 9:00. Both nights I was there. Yes, I went and saw it again at 11. There was still a pretty good crowd. It is everything that I remembered it being, and I would bet money that within the next 5 years it's back at Magic Kingdom.
It's going to be there next year, I think. So here's
Wow.
my question: did you like the last float?
yes, we
Yes.
both liked it. So
For those of you who don't know, the last float is no longer the Salute to America and the big flag. It's the same float, but now it's basically Small World versions of everything since 1995.
Yeah.
All the characters. I mean, it's
All
got
the
Merida.
Pixar.
It's got
Yeah.
it's all the Pixar stuff. It's got Hercules. It's got
Moana.
Hercules on
Yeah.
there. It's got Moana.
So good.
But it's updatable to
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
But they would not have dumped that much money into it if this parade was a one time and then it's going to go back into the closet for 5 more years.
No,
It's not. This
it's moving
parade's
to-
I think this parade's heading to
Magic Kingdom next year.
Magic Kingdom, and I've got to guess. So officially, the 50th anniversary is going to run through March of next year.
Right.
Okay, I would bet next summer, Main Street Electrical Parade is back,
I think
Mhm.
so. I think so.
and Happily Ever After is back.
Oh, you think they're going to get rid of
I bet
Enchanted?
they bring, because Enchantment has gotten so bad of reviews. I think it comes back, but that's not Disneyland.
No.
So, but I think the parade is definitely coming to Magic Kingdom.
I agree.
If it's not, because I know it's ending in October or
September 2nd.
September 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
My only thought is I bet they extend that. bet
I
they
don't know because
extend-
we have Halloween. No, because we have Halloween. We got a bunch of stuff coming
Yeah,
down the
you
pike.
guys have
Here.
a ton of parades though.
Yeah, we got a ton of
So-
stuff coming down the pike.
Yeah.
So they'll probably get rid
Right.
of the nighttime parade. And
Yeah.
we stop nighttime stuff because it gets too loud in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
the other thing is to me the best nighttime parade I've ever seen is Paint the Night,
Paint the night.
which you have somewhere in storage and
We've gotta
never
find
comes
it.
out. It seems like I don't
Mm.
completely understand why, but That is
I would be-
such a fantastic
It's
parade.
so fabulous. Yes.
which cannot come to Magic Kingdom because the Mack truck can't make
Can't
the
turn the
hub.
corner.
He can't do the
Right,
hub.
and I always say take the Mack truck out. It's still
Or I
better
just
than
say, well, bring him to Hollywood Studios. I think he'd fit there.
yeah. I don't know.
could be.
I don't
Do
think they
Hollywood.
want a parade there, but
Oh, well, they could.
So,
yeah.
okay, Amy, closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. I guess the only thing I haven't said yet that I wanted to, Genie Plus really, really worked at Disneyland. It is horrible at Magic Kingdom or at Disney World as a whole, especially Hollywood Studios. Like we only got maybe 2 or 3 rides
Yeah,
the
one.
day we used it, because we went to World for spring break. But yeah, it really, really works at Disneyland to the point where you can get immediate return times almost.
Mhm.
You go to the line for Space Mountain and it's,
Scan.
a 20-30 minute wait, which is nothing for World, but you get on the Genie Plus and you can get a return time in 5 minutes. I mean, it's just, it worked really, really well, and you could just get whatever you wanted to get. So I think it really, really worked a lot better at Land, and I don't know if that's because it's just not as many people or what.
It's
But
both.
it just
It's smaller.
worked.
It's smaller.
Yeah.
You're in one park, or the other
There's
park you
more
can go back.
rides.
There's more rides.
And
I
you
don't
go
know.
back and forth so much
And
quicker.
I think it was overall a really successful day. Again, Derek got to do 2 days, but I just did the one. We got to do everything we wanted to do and
Mhm.
more.
And watch a
So-
show.
and
a
watch
parade.
several shows and and do a sit down lunch, and it was and we did stay, park open to park close, but it was nice not to have to drive in the morning or the evening. So it was a good plan
Thank
to
you.
stay at the
Thank you.
hotels.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So thanks for that suggestion.
Good.
Even though we didn't enjoy that hotel as much, the location was absolutely perfect at the end of the day.
Yeah, for
So.
sure.
Um,
The one other comment I would like to make, because you mentioned you watched World of Color on the videos of it, and you chose the fireworks, which is perfectly fine. But I will say World of Color is a show that loses a lot watching it on video.
I'm sure it does.
It's one of those.
Sure it-
It's one of those things that you have to be there to see the width and breadth and height of the show. Height of the show.
Yeah.
I don't want to screw that.
But
What?
to me, they say the same thing about Harmonious at Epcot, and that's very mediocre to me.
I would
different.
I would disagree with. I don't know about that, but World of Color is way better than
Okay.
Harmonious.
Okay.
Harmonious is fine. I don't
World
dislike
of
it.
World of Color in person is way better than video. Harmonious on video is similar to what you see.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's my.
I would
that's my
I would
point.
say because it's mostly videos.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
yeah. So
So
I
I
would
think
I
if-
would just say if you ever go back again,
Mhm.
I would take the time
Okay.
for World of Color.
Yeah, I think if I had been there the second day, I probably would have wanted to see World of Color and Fantasmic. But the fireworks were fabulous. To the point where actually last week, we were in Florida for our beach vacation. We actually drove over to Disney Springs to see some Plus Platoon friends. So we got to meet Sam and Kate and Sam's husband Brian, who's on sometimes. Anyway, we stayed all evening and went over to Contemporary to watch the fireworks. And we're just so disappointed next to Disneyland fireworks. It was just like, it was okay, but it wasn't as fabulous as
the same.
Disneyland.
It's just not the
so.
same. Yeah.
So, as Amy and for me, as Amy mentioned, we did 24 attractions or shows on the day we were there.
One day.
And I walked 26,000 steps.
Nice.
So a little over 13 and a half miles. I could have been done after that day.
Mhm.
On day 2, I was much more selective. It was fun to see some stuff again, but guys, 2 days is plenty, especially if you're park open to park close.
And if you buy
especially-
Genie Plus, you're done in one day. Yeah.
So
With-
my big thing with Disneyland that I think I prefer 3 or 4 days is actually the nighttime shows,
That's fair.
because in order to really see them and not have to be running from one to the other, you almost need 3 nights, because you need one night
Yeah.
for World of Color, you need one night for Fantasmic, and then one night for the fireworks and the parade.
That's
You could
fair.
maybe do it in 2, but I mean, you saw for yourself. You couldn't really have done Fantasmic 2 along with
No.
the fireworks. It would have
Not,
been
not to be on Main Street for the
No,
fireworks.
Yeah.
you would miss the projections.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care about the projections. It snowed. Excuse me, it snowed.
And the snow.
But-
And the snow. Then
Yeah.
there's me. Is it 8:30? We gotta go. We gotta get out of here before the fireworks. I
You
gotta
gotta
get
get out
on the
before the
tram and be
fireworks.
out the door.
Well, I have to say, if you weren't at a hotel, that's the way to be.
That's the way to
Let's
do
get
it.
the heck
Yeah.
out of
That's
it.
that's
I will
the
also
rule.
say,
in California.
I did go over to the Grand Cal. I went in there for a little bit to just sit and chill and try and cool off. Reminded me a lot of Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, same
Definitely.
builder, same architect.
So, will I go back? Amy, would you go back to Disneyland?
I would go back if I'm in the area, definitely. I don't think we need to make a special trip to California just for Disneyland. Like if we're going to California to see other parts of the state,
Or
Great.
if we're going, like in a couple years, we're looking at doing a Hawaii trip. We will probably stop at Disneyland either on our way out or on our way back. But will we be planning a trip to Disneyland like we plan trips to Disney World? No, not for us.
Interesting.
and
Even if
partly
you
that's
use
just
points?
because it's
Even if we use points,
yeah.
even if
Wow.
because the only place we can use points is Grand Cal. And have you seen those point charts?
They're
We can't get in
ridiculous.
anyway, so it doesn't
You
matter.
can never get
yeah,
in.
you
That's
can't
true.
get
I
in.
never get in.
So
That's true. Okay.
So,
yeah, definitely I'd enjoy going back, but yeah, 1 or 2 days is plenty as part of a bigger trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed some of the things that they had that World doesn't, like Incredicoaster, Cars Land. I mean, some of those things that are just really, really well done and you can't get at World.
Yeah.
So I really
That's
enjoyed
true.
those.
Now,
See, and
Pete, question for
I'm,
you.
I'm 3 or 4 days at Disneyland.
And Pete, question for you. Would you go with points?
I've gone on points.
Yeah. So,
we actually went and stayed in a 1-bedroom one of our trips that we
Nice.
went there at the Grand Cal, which is, I mean, it's a lot of points. It is incredible to stay and be able to literally like walk through
Roll
the pool
out.
area.
roll
and
out.
and my absolute favorite thing, which is like literally outside of the hotel, is Grizzly River Run. So you go on Grizzly River Run, you get all wet, and then you go and
Go
change
back.
your clothes and you
Yeah.
run.
Yeah.
Because it's right there.
Yeah.
So you know, I am I'm not on the wait list because I'm not that worried, but I am going to buy points at the Disneyland
Yeah.
Resort when they open that
new
And
tower.
yeah,
the
Our-
Disneyland
yeah.
Tower. Yeah.
our plan, I live here. So our plan is to buy it just the minimum amount of points and use it for 2 nights. 2 nights during Halloween, that during those Boo Bash nights or during Memorial Day. So that's our plan. Or 4th of July.
Yeah, for me, what I will agree with is, you know, we go to Disney World usually a couple times a year. Disneyland, again, because of the distance, is not a
No.
annual sojourn to me. We last went in 2019, and I'm now starting to think about that next one. So same thing, the Disneyland Tower to me is going to be, I'm probably only get like 50 points, but I'm going to
Yeah.
bank and borrow, and it'll be, you know, 5 or 6 nights
wow.
every 3 years.
Yeah, mine's
so.
to be 2 nights.
In the
2
studio,
nights, 1
maybe.
weekend a year. And yeah,
Okay.
that they'll have the 2-person tower like Riviera.
Okay. I'm just thinking 150 points for 5. You're going to be able to get 30 point a night rooms.
Oh, I don't. Okay.
Yeah.
My prediction is it's going to be the same point charts as the Grand Cal.
Oh, I think it's be Riviera. I think it's be the same as Riviera.
Well,
Okay.
anyways, I mean, you can get
Anyway.
studios for less than 30 points a night. Yes.
You
Okay.
can get, and it's mostly studios anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be a fight to get those 1 and 2 bedrooms because there's not
Yeah,
gonna be as
I can
many.
see that.
Yeah.
Gina, Pete, thank you very much for being on. Amy, thanks
Yay.
for coming on with us. Thanks
Yeah,
for
so fun.
taking me along out to California.
It was fun.
And guys, if you have questions that you watch this later, please email me at plusplatoon@gmail.com. We'll answer any of the questions. And we will see you guys this coming week. This coming week, we are actually doing Cars. So we'll be talking a little bit about the Cars land there too.
Yay.
Ciao.
Ciao. Okay. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.